Danielle Smith with the Alberta Enterprise Group. I'm collaborating with Common Sense Calgary to interview candidates for the upcoming council race in Calgary on October the 18th. And joining me now is your candidate for Ward 9, Abdirizak Hadi. Abdirizak, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me, Danielle. It's great to be here.
Let's talk about why you decided to jump into the race. What's the burning issue for you that made you think that you wanted to be a council member right now?
That's a great question. Danielle, I've been in Canada for 15 years. I came as an immigrant as a young age, and I've been Canadian citizen for 11 years. So it's time to give back and contribute and service the community. That's why I decided to run for Ward 9. That's one issue. Another issue is I have a lot of passion about politics and serving the community. And I've been serving all my childhood even. And every chance I got, I would like to serve people. And the third point I'm running is I would like to represent Calgarians who are African descent, who has not been represented in City Hall 43 years. And as you know, the first African descent Calgary councillor elected in City Hall was 1974, and that was Fernetta Anderson. And she was serving 4 years. And after 1978, no one from African descent of Calgary has been represented in City Hall. That's why I'm running, and I hope the people of Ward 9 and Calgary will support me and make history with me together.
Oh, all right. That's a long time before having that kind of representation. Let me ask you a bit about the current council member, Giancarlo Carra, when he's running again as the incumbent. When you look at his record, is there something you would have done differently?
Well, I would like to thank first our councillor, John Carla, and he has been serving the community for a long time, 12 years, I think. This is the fourth election, and that's a long time serving. So I would like to thank first. And what I would like to do different is I will be connecting more to the community. That's what's lacking here. And I would be listening more. I would be taking their concerns to the City Hall. And that's what the elected representative does. Because if you are disconnected with your voters, and then that's not great.
Let me ask you about a little bit about your history then, and what you do for work, so that people can understand why you think the experience that you have would make you a good council member. What do you do?
I work in oil sands, and I've been working in oil sands for a long time. I moved from Fort McMurray 5 years ago. I've been in Fort McMurray 10 years, and I've been in Calgary for 5 years. If I've been elected, I will be honest counselor. I will be hard worker. I will bring 15 years of experience and good ethics, and I will listen to the people who voted me in. That's what I'm going to do, and I will try to make a difference and fix many issues that we have in Ward 9.
Okay, let's talk about what those issues are. When you go door to door and talk to constituents, what are the top three?
What I'm hearing is unemployment. People are saying they are unemployed or underemployed. And number two is that's why, for example, if you look the medium income of all the wards of Calgary, Ward 9 is the bottom line. We make the least money of all wards. So I want to change that one. And number two is safety and security. People are complaining about the safety and security, and people want also to end or do something about homeless people. And I want to find a permanent solution for our homeless population. They're growing every day, and no one is doing anything. And I can't watch fellow Canadians, fellow human beings suffering in front of us. And that's what I want to change. Also, people want snow removal, improvement, and transit. They need to improvement for transit system.
All right, we'll talk a bit more about each of those. Let me first ask you about the defund the police movement, because I want to know what that means to you and what lessons we should be taking from it.
Well, defend the police is everywhere nowadays, and I would like to thank the police for their service. Without them, there would not be peace. I really respect, and I don't have any issue with police, and I've never have a bad experience with the police since I've been in Canada. So in Calgary, I see a lot of reports people wants to be defund the police and redirect some of the money to other services such as mental health issues. And the chief of police in Calgary accepted some of the recommendations. I think the last report I was reading, he was saying we can provide 80 million in 2021 and another $80 million 2022. So that's good start. And I don't mind taking a little bit money from police budget and putting towards other services such as mental issues and transportation and snow removal. And also, I would like that money to go into police too, because
Hmm.
police needs to be reformed, police needs to be training for cultural issues, sensitive issues, and also police. I want to be cleaned up because there's some bad apples. All police not bad. Most of them are great, professional, hardworking people, but there's some bad apples. So we need to clean up that bad apples so they will not damage the reputation of a great policemen and women
All
working with
right. Thanks
us.
for that. So one of the big roles that you'll have to play is overseeing the city budget and looking at levels of spending and taxation. So just from a high level, we'll get down into some of the granular issues in just a minute. But when you look at the level of spending, do you think that the city is spending too much, too little, or do you think it's about right?
Honestly, I don't have the details of what the budget of Calgary looks like, and but since I've been 5 years in Calgary, I see uh, we can do better in city spending and city budget. We can trim a lot of fat, and we can save a lot of money, and towards many things such as snow removal and transit and affordable housing. So I believe if we really sit down and look our numbers, we can crunch in and save a lot of money.
Okay, let me ask you about the tax side because if spending does not keeps going up, then there has to be revenue to pay for it. Are you hearing concerns about taxes? One of the things that we've seen is the hollowing out of downtown, and as a result, that tax revenue requirement got pushed on to the businesses in the outlying community, and when that became too high, it got shifted onto residents. So nobody seems to be happy about that. Is what would you do to fix it?
I think taxes are high, and we don't need more taxes for our property owners. But we need to look what we have and use the perfect way possible. And that's what I will push forward if I'm elected as a councillor.
Okay, sometimes you hear that from time to time, new taxation powers being proposed. The argument being that property taxes they're over reliant on that as a single source of revenue, along with transfers. Do you think there needs to be new taxes?
I don't support new taxes. I support the low taxes and using our money, our taxpayers' money, perfect way possible. And we have to adopt saving money strategies across all the departments of Calgary, city of Calgary.
Hmm. Let's talk then about how you'd go about doing that, because one of the biggest ticket items on the operating side is, of course, is wages, salaries, benefits, pensions, transition allowances. So there's sort of three layers to talk about that: the frontline staff, middle management, and senior managers, and council. So when you look at council pay, do you think it's fair, or do you think that council members should take a cut?
Well, councillors are working hard and representing their votes, and they deserve better pay. But at the same time, if they are making more than what the other councillors of the province or of the country they are making, I don't mind personally if I'm elected if I cut some of my salary.
Okay. What about managers and administrators? Would you take a different approach in looking at their level of compensation and the total number of managers?
It's very important to look the data first and what their salary looks like. We are just imagining most of the time. Like me, someone who has never been in the city and look the budget of the city, I can't say what their budget looks like or what their salary looks like, but I'm just imagining they are making a lot of money, and we can look into it and we can renegotiate it and we can make a good deal about it. I know most of the city workers are unionized, and unions they fight on behalf of their workers, but at the same time, as a city, if we are collected and united as a mayor, councillors, we can deal with the union, and they can get their fair share, and the city and taxpayers will get their fair share too.
Okay, let me talk about the other side of the spending, which is capital spending. There's some big ticket items that are being proposed, and going forward. And so let's talk about the Green Line, for instance, as an example. It began as a $4.7 billion project that would see LRT go to the Deep South and the Deep North. It turned into a project half the size, only 20 kilometers, doesn't go to either destination point, and so it's caused some controversy. The question I have for you is: do you think that it should proceed full steam ahead? Do you think it needs to be modified in a significant way, or do you think it should be scrapped altogether?
I would suggest or support modifying it because the first place, why we are spending this much money if it's not suitable for our needs, if it's not connecting the existing line or services, if it's half of what it has been promised. So it needs to sit down with the company or contractors or the funders, which is from federal and professional, and then modify it and see what we can do next stage.
Okay, let me ask you about four big projects that were approved. When they were originally approved, they were approved against the advice of the CFO, who said that there was only enough a budget to afford one of them. If you had been on council, which one of them would you have prioritized at the top of the list? And I'll just list them now. So the Event Center, that's the project with the Calgary Flames, the BMO Center expansion for new convention space, the Arts Commons transformation, or the Foothills Fieldhouse? What do you think is the top priority?
If I have to support one of them, I would support BMO expansion because it's close to Stampede, and it will add some value to that business and attracts a lot of people. So that a little bit makes sense to me.
Okay, let me talk to you about the economy. So we've been on a downturn in the province-wide economy since 2014, but also I'd already mentioned the problem that we have with the downtown. What do you think the opportunity is for Calgary to attract new businesses? What do you think it ought to be doing?
Number one, I would say the city has to consult with the Calgary Chamber of Commerce and hear what their ideas about and how can we attract new business, because they know better than us. They're dealing every day. And on the other hand, I think lowering the tax of property owners can also attract people, because when the city lower the taxes, and the owners of those buildings will lower the rent. And also I would suggest office sharing space. There's many small businesses who can't afford to rent their own, and if they can share offices, then they can share also the rent, and that way we can attract also businesses. So there's many ways we can attract business, but we have to talk to the right people to make the right decisions.
Okay, one more way that has been tried in the past is Calgary Economic Development was given $100 million to attract new business with direct support. Do you support that kind of approach?
If they are attracting and if they're fulfilling the job they have been given to do, I will support. But if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then I would not support it. Because every time when we sit down and base some money or to an organization, to individual to do something for the city, for the people of Calgary, they have to deliver the result. If they're not delivering the result, there's no point for supporting more.
Okay, let me talk to you a bit about housing, because another way to generate new revenue is to attract new residents and new home construction. When I say the term affordable housing, what does that mean to you?
Affordable housing to me, if you are spending less than 25% of your gross income, that's affordable housing. If you are spending more than 25% of your gross income, then that's not affordable housing. So we need more affordable housing, which is cheap, which is affordable, which people can pay, and not more than 25% of the gross income of the people.
The other aspect of affordable housing is homelessness. What needs to be done about homelessness?
To me, homelessness is number one fight I'm going to do if I'm elected. Our homeless population is growing, and to me, homeless is not an object or a tree. They're human beings. They're fellow Canadian. They're brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers. So, to watch them collapse in front of us, to suffer in front of us, that will say many things about who we are as Calgarians, as Canadians. And our homeless population needs a permanent solution. And I would propose a motion which is building a center for our homeless people and housing there and equipping that building for nurses, social workers, security, and health. And we can treat them all, we can feed them all. And for those who need them to go back to the society and contribute, they can go back. For those who needs more time, we can keep them there and treat them and feed them and shelter them, and we can afford. It's a rich city, and also the normal citizens of Calgary, they would love to support that idea.
Oh,
And for me, if I've been elected, I will work hard for our homeless people, and then I will be a role model. Our city will be a role model for all North America and solve the problem of homelessness people.
okay. Let me ask you about the Guidebook for Great Communities. Have you heard any controversy around that in your ward?
While I was knocking the doors, I did not hear that.
Well, let me
But
ask you a different way then, because one of the big conflicts that we have is do you build up and densify in some of the older communities that have the large lots, but also have the infrastructure? Or do you build out with new greenfield development? You can get smaller lots and higher density, but there's less infrastructure. How do you balance that debate?
I think I will support both of them because every Calgarians has their specific and unique needs, financially or family wise. So some people want to rent an apartment, a small apartment where a lot of people are there. It's close to all amenities. Some people have small family or created a small family. They want to move out for the suburbs. So we have to have the two options. And dancing is also very important nowadays because of environmental issues. So if we
Mhm.
dance and put more people in a small location, so that will benefit the environment. But at the same time, we need also to give an opportunity for the people to live in the suburbs and big, good houses.
Okay. Just a few final questions here about other issues that have been raised over the last couple of years. First of all, the city voted to reduce speed limits to 40 kilometers per hour in the residential zones. Do you agree with that decision?
If it will increase the safety of our streets, our roads, and increase the traffic safety, I will support it. But the question is it going to be effective?
Mm.
Uh, so that's the question. Speeders, always the speeders, they will speed. They speed in the busy parking lot. They speed in the parking back alleys where children are playing. So I think if it's already decided, then we can do anything at the moment. The only thing I could add is let's have consistent awareness to the drivers and let's tell the people why it's important to follow the signs, why it's very important to slow down. So if the people understand and educated what they're doing, they will do well. If the people are not educated or are willing not to listen, then that's a problem. So I would support uh, uh, the low mileage, but at the same time, we have to ask if is it effective.
Okay. Let me ask you about the delivery of public services with the private sector. It's been talked about in the context of garbage collection or operating golf courses or snow removal. Do you think there is a role for the private sector?
If that benefits for Calgary and Calgarians, why not? I believe it's not something wrong with it. I will support it. But always we have to do feasibility study. We have to look, is it our benefit? Is it the benefit of our people? So if it's good, then we'll go ahead. If it's not good, then we will keep in a city.
Okay. Public art has been controversial over the last number of years because of some high profile projects, the Big Blue Ring in the north or the Beaufort Towers in the west. When you look at how they've changed the public art program, are you satisfied with that? Or do you think there needs to be a different approach to public art?
I think public art is great. I like to see sometimes, although I don't have time to go out and look at them. But we don't have to focus that much. We have to focus the core service the
Mm.
people of Calgary needs. So our main priority as a city has to be delivering the core issues and the core services.
Okay, there's just a couple questions I have for you about the role of the council member. So there will be some referenda questions in the fall, one on fluoride, one on daylight savings, another one on equalization. When you look at these types of approaches of having the direct vote of citizens, do you think that we should do more of that, or do you think that you should make more of the decisions as the elected representative?
Well, it depends the topic we are talking and the topic we need to ask the people and the topic we need to decide as a councillors, as elected representatives. For example, the fluoride, the city of Calgary voted out before and they stopped using fluoride. And now if we want to bring it back, fluoride is not about making a flag for the city and saying, hey, we had these three different flags and they're about this is the description, choose one of them. It's not like that.
Mm.
Fluoride is health and science issue. So we have to ask experts and ask them to advise us. Is it good for us or is it bad for us? Because that's the only debate that the people has. Some people they're saying it's bad for us. Some people are saying good for us, especially for decay of tooth and especially the kids. So that, in my opinion, is not supposed to be a referendum topic. It's supposed to be health and science people to tell us what's good for us and what's good for our health.
Okay, one final question. Sometimes the administration will give you a recommendation they say is best for the city as a whole, but your ward, your constituents will want you to vote the other way. What would you do in those cases?
It depends also the discussion at the moment. If it's something simple and that did not affect the people of my ward, then I may decide on behalf of my residents. But if it's something that will affect the people of my ward, I would like to listen to them because they are our boss. They are the one who voted us in. It's shame to me politicians knock the doors and beg votes one election time and they disappear and say bye-bye and they don't listen. That's very bad. If I'm elected, I will be listening to the people of Ward 9 and then we are making the decision together and I will bring their voices, their concerns to the city hall, not myself.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the conversation today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
You bet it. That is your candidate for Ward 9, Abdirizak Hadi.
Thank you.
Thank you.